come on. Stop whining.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this short video today where we're going to cover the fuel cell drop that is being seen today. It is dropping with 11%. We are going to explain you two of the reasons why we think that it's dropping and what you should know and be aware about as an investor in fuel cell. So as we can see from the graph here, since Monday the stock had a good run up until today where it suddenly dropped down with 11%. And we see, from our perspective, two reasons why this is the case. One reason is obviously that we think that fuel cell is highly overvalued compared to the numbers that we are seeing and the expectations. We have been wrong about the share price and how much they've grown. We are not hiding that in any way, but we don't think that there has been a lot of justification for this huge increase. The second reason is obviously when the stock increases so much, well, at a certain point you will have some profit taking, and we think that is what is happening today in the stock. There's simply some that is taking profit, and I think it's healthy if you as an investor in fuel cell now considers maybe to take a little bit of profit, not necessarily sell your whole position, not at all, just take a little bit to at least cover your initial investment in the company if you catched it in the bottom when it was around 2.28. That is always a healthy thing to do. You have secured yourself, and then you can let the remaining amount just run up if it continues for fuel cell. The second reason, which is not our own conclusion, it is coming from one of the analysts. And this is basically Paul Costner from JP Morgan. He is basically a Wall Street analyst, and we always like to go in to check tips rank. And as you can see here, he is 2,466 out of 7,227 analysts, and he's number 4,043 out of 15,104 overall experts. So he is definitely not the worst, but he is definitely neither the best of all of them. However, that being said, we think that Paul Costner is a bit ridiculous in the way that he has covered fuel cells so far, and we're going to explain that in a bit more detail in a little bit. However, what he is saying is that he has turned bearish on fuel cell energy. He believes that the stock should be worth about half of its latest closing price. We cannot really disagree with that, as we also think that fuel cell energy is highly overvalued as of today. He says that he likes the company still because they have a strong balance sheet and a strong backlog. To the strong balance sheet, we're not 100% in agreement with that, but we do agree with the backlog, although it is important to note that the backlog does not necessarily materialize. Those projects can still be cancelled. But to be fair to fuel cell, they have a really strong backlog as of today. And he expects a breakout contract in the industrial, chemical, or energy sector, which fits very well with the technology that they have. And again, we're not going to disagree with that. It could be that that happened, and that would obviously be great for fuel cell, so we hope that for them. However, his favorite pick is Plug Power, and he has a neutral rating on them. However, he also believes that for them, the full value is already incorporated into the share price. We agree with him. We also like Plug Power the most of all the companies. We also like Bloom Energy. However, they are more in a transition phase, but Plug Power looks to be the strongest. And we also agree with him that although we think that Plug Power is also slightly overvalued as of today, we definitely think that that is the most fair market cap that they have compared to their current revenue and also future projections and strategy. But where it gets a little bit ridiculous is when you see how he has covered the stock so far. Well, first of all, he initiated it on 8th of October 2020, and he put an overweight. And at the time, the price was 2.38, so he definitely saw that one correctly. Then it became neutral in the 19th of November 2020, so approximately a month after, their fuel cell had gone up with almost 100% to 5.36. And when he changes to neutral, okay, he doesn't say that you necessarily need to sell it, but he doesn't either say that you need to accumulate or continue having overweight of this share. Then nothing really happens until today, where he suddenly downgraded and he puts it from neutral to underweight, but he still puts a share price target of $10. And what we think is how many things have actually changed with fuel cell over the last 2 months. It is not really a lot of things that has changed. So why did he change from overweight to neutral when it was at 5.36? And then he puts it as underweight 1.5 months after. but he still puts a price target of 10. It seems like that it's very difficult for him to fairly value what the price of FuelCell should be, and basically he's just taking kind of like a safe road, saying this should just be 50%. And that's what we think is a little bit ridiculous when we at least see how he has covered FuelCell until now. Again, we're not disagreeing with him on the fact that we think that FuelCell is overvalued. And again, if I was an investor, if I had hit this one correctly, which unfortunately we didn't do, well, then I would definitely have sold a rather big portion of my holding in the company. I would always remain with a little bit part of my investment in the company just to keep that one going in case it continues up. But I would definitely play more on the safe side and take some profits home. Again, this does not mean that there will come a huge sell-off in FuelCell and it's going to drop down like a bomb. It could also just be that it's a natural risk-taking, and the stock will then consolidate around the current area of 16 point whatever it's going to end up today, and then it's going to move sideways, and depending on whether there comes further good news on the stock itself or in the sector, which we think is the reason which has driven the growth in the share price, well, it may continue up. Again, we are bearish ourselves on FuelCell. We definitely like Plug Power a lot more, and if we were to invest in something more safe, we would definitely pick Plug Power. But that being said, you cannot ignore the fact that FuelCell Energy has grown with 700%, and it therefore may continue to do so in the future. Alright, that was all we had for today. It was a little bit of babbling on my side.
Shut up.
I do apologize for that, but we do hope that you liked the video. Please subscribe for future content. Please give us a like. It really helps with the algorithm. And please provide a comment in the comment section. We do always appreciate your input, whether it's positive or negative. Otherwise, there's not much more to say than have a good day, stay safe, hasta la vista, baby.